Hi everyone and welcome back. Of course, it's that time of the week again, time for another Bundesliga and A-League review. Again, because of some more fantastic fixturing in Australia, we've got another truncated week of A-League fixtures. We're meant to play each other, of course, Ben, but that's not happening until tomorrow night, of course, so we're not going to postpone it further back for the sake of that, so we'll just do with what we have. But let's dive straight into, well, firstly, actually, you should just say, just to take the topic off football before we dive into this, we'll get this out of the way now. I mean, look, we don't cover Saint stuff at all. We bring it up from now and then, but we're not an AFL channel. But I remember how many times you were being very confident saying that this year was going to be your year. How was your game the other night, Ben?
Well, just for context, Chester, look, great to see you again for another week. Let's just put a bit of context on this, because the last nearly 3 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, the last sort of 24 to 30 hours or so have been an absolute nightmare for me. So I did.
Because you haven't actually told me what happened in the game. I just gather the fact that you lost. I'm guessing it wasn't a good defeat.
We lost by about the same margin as last week, but again, similar thing. Had chances. We were in front at different times, and just any time we had a bit of momentum, just took it. Melbourne, we gave it back to Melbourne basically, and they put the foot down in the last quarter, and just and as I mentioned to you last night, I thought, the haze of rage, I think as I called it, outside the ground for our followers yesterday afternoon. That's why you didn't get a follow-up video, guys. Just my anger got the better of me, and I decided to go and grab a pizza and walk part of the way home. It was just, I needed some time to clear the head.
Did you walk through the botanical gardens or something?
No, I got.
Oh no, that would have been closed.
I got my favourite tram down to top of Chapel Street to this pizza shop.
The good old 75, yeah.
The 78 or whatever it is,
78, yeah. Sorry.
So and then just walk back home, the rest of the way down the hill, and felt a little bit better, and then I got onto social media and started reading some of the comments. I'm like, no, I'll park it, and had a listen to another podcast that I listened to, Saints or Sinners, great podcast, and they gave me a bit of a shout out there, because I've made a comment that I'm eating my feelings again now. It's only round 2 or round 1 or 2 games played, whatever.
Didn't you say you were at they mentioned you because you were at the ground, right, and you were eating something during the game, right?
No, so this was afterwards. So this is when I had the bright idea of I'm really pissed off. I'll go and get a pizza on the way home, and that's sort of how that came about. So was
the pizza any good? Was that at least a
consolation? Oh, it was. Papalino's pizza on Chapel Street in Windsor. Yeah, top notch. So yeah.
If you're watching, anyone who works there or the owners, yeah.
Yep. VIP discount card or something would be great. But we're not here to talk about that. Obviously, that we've glossed over that. I'm sure as the week goes on and the weekend passes, I'll sort of dive into the further
Well, you're
depths
back
of
at
despair.
Marvel, I believe, this week, right?
No, that week after next. We're at the showgrounds on Saturday against GWS, so that's going to be fun. And they're coming off a 70 or 80 point loss, I think it was. So yeah, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, we're here.
You'll be sitting down and watching it in your apartment. I'm sure, hopeful that you can maybe win finally this season.
It might be like a whole family-sized lasagna or something by the end of that game. We'll have to wait and see. This could easily turn from a Saints content channel into a Saints/food review comfort eating channel by not even the end of the season, by week 5. And we've got a live stream in about 6 weeks. That's going to be fun
roughly,
at this stage. So, but we're not here to gloss. I'm not here to gloss over that. We're here to do a job. We're here to talk about the Bundesliga and some A-League games. So, where do you want to start?
Let's just jump straight into it. Let's just start in the big talking points, of course, this week. I guess you could say relegation 6-pointers, so to speak, I guess you could say. This week, we'll start with that one that I'm not sure if you ended up watching it. I mean, you told me you were going to watch it.
No,
we're talking about that Bremen-Mainz game, of course. That happened this morning. Look, Mainz in a big game, it really was. I mean, Mainz ran all over Bremen. Let's be real, didn't they? I mean, look, it's a comfortable 2-0 win for Mainz, and it's just the type of result they probably would have been after a few barren weeks. And Bremen, I mean, look, they might have one of the worst attacks in the league. I mean, it just doesn't look like there's anything firing there for them really ever. Aside from here and there, you know, a little bit here and there, just again in this game, just completely flat up front, weren't they?
They were, and I talked about sort of staying up to watch it, but I turned in not long before the start of the game and just didn't have the energy to watch it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think, and it's good for Mainz because we've talked about them having a few up and down results in recent weeks, and it's probably good for them to get back to basics and just dominating a game like this against a team who, let's face it, they're right in that relegation battle, and it is
I
now.
don't think they're getting out of it anytime soon.
I wouldn't think so either, and I'll put all my bias aside. I think they're well and truly in it now. But I mean, credit to Mainz, they've sort of picked themselves up and dusted
they had
themselves
a couple of chances, you know, and I wouldn't say clear-cut chances. Romano Schmid late on in the first half, I believe it was, had a shot on the angle, but it was pretty tame. It was always going to be difficult to score from there. Marco Gruhl put one wide in the second half, but really apart from that, once again, Bremen just looking very light up front, very unimaginative, lacking creativity. And, you know, Mainz weren't particularly amazing, but they just had enough to get the job done, and that's what happened.
Most definitely. Just very, very average, as we've come to expect from Bremen this year, in the second half of the year at least.
I think we lost there for a second, but I think we're back now, sorry.
Yep, I think we're good now. Not quite sure what happened there, but
it's all good.
The joys of podcasting, technical difficulties, which we're.
I'll fix it in the editing. Or I might leave it in for shits and giggles. Who knows?
but hey, I mean, like we just said, I mean, for Mainz it was a great result, but otherwise it wasn't the most fantastic game. So maybe it's probably good if we're going to get tick issues that happens now, rather than, I guess, if we're discussing one of the better games of the weekend. But I think,
look.
Go on.
Good for Mainz, just good for Mainz to get themselves back on and winning, get a win again, because it had been a couple of weeks, as I said before, since they'd last won. I mean, it was always going to be an uphill battle for Bremen, because that's what it feels like in their games at the moment, in all honesty, and it's going to probably be like that till the very end of the season. Mm-hmm. The only thing that they could possibly hold on to is, you know, if they can get themselves a playoff spot. The record for a long time in recent seasons with teams from the Bundesliga playing teams from the division below in those playoffs is fairly one-sided, you'd have to say. I mean, I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head the last time a team from the Schweizer Bundesliga won one of those playoffs, actually. Because, obviously, Heidenheim won theirs comfortably, I believe, last season alone, didn't they?
I'm actually just trying to Google it as I speak, so hopefully we'll have an answer to that pretty...
And obviously we all remember that famous one a couple of seasons back when Köln lost 1-0 in the first leg to Kiel, I believe, and then turned it round to win 5-1 or 5-0 or something in the second leg and stay in the league. So, look, Bremen can hold on to that. Look, it's the only good thing for them is that there's two teams worse than them. One of them we'll move on to right now, who, to be fair, although they've just sacked their manager, clearly entering panic stations mode, you know, it looked like they were getting in for a big 3 points away from home until the closing stages of the game. And Grisha Promel pops up and gets a goal back and rescues a point for Hoffenheim, who themselves have been struggling a bit of late. It's not like, you know, they should have, I mean, look, going into the game, you know, you'd imagine Wolfsburg probably would have you'd expect Wolfsburg to lose, Hoffenheim to get back and win that game at home. Didn't really pan out that way. Kuliarakis putting them in front in the first half from the corner. And it looked like they were holding firm for that win, but then just losing that concentration right at the end killed them, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I guess point each, just probably fair result for both teams have had sort of up and down form, as we've talked about. There's a number of teams in that boat, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, but Wolfsburg have had, and make no mistake about it, Wolfsburg have had a diabolical season thus far. They're 17th for a reason. They've only won 5 of their 26 games they've played this season. The only thing that they could possibly hold on to hope that they could mount a late charge for safety, is the fact that in the teams around them, they've scored far more goals than them. I mean, look, if we're looking at exclusively at the bottom 4, for example, Bremen have scored 29, you guys 23, Heidenheim 24, Wolfsburg 35. So the one thing they can hold on to is they can find the back of the net, and that may be crucial in the end. But like defensively, and it's been the whole season for them. Of course, that's been their biggest issue, and that lack of concentration at the end to lose what could have been a valuable win and only gain a point from it. You know, when the gaps are starting to open up ahead of them, it's not great for them. And obviously, as you mentioned just before we started this podcast, when you messaged me, Daniel Bauer has been sacked apparently. So they're back to the drawing board again. Who did you believe? You told me who it was who came in. I can't remember who it was.
Dieter Hecking, who I think managed him before. But the funny thing out of all this was, and this is where I'll go on a little bit of a rant, Amazon Prime, if you're going to have highlights that both of us watch every week before we do this
I mean, I use YouTube. Speak for yourself. I use YouTube, but yeah, whatever.
At least make sure you've got the correct highlights, because I was told it was a new episode, but it was from the week before. So,
bro, just use YouTube or be in. Don't rely on Amazon.
I think so.
Yeah. Look, it's not great in the end for Wolfsburg. It's still a commendable point. Not easy for a team down where they are going to a team away at Hoffenheim and getting a point. But the fact that it could have been a win really, really hinders them, really, doesn't it?
It does,
yeah. As for Hoffenheim, look, they've not been in a great run of form of late, and they're still keeping themselves in that Champions League conversation. And there was a big match around that this morning when Stuttgart took on Leipzig, and Stuttgart with a massive win, a huge win, and who else to provide them the goal to win them that game than the striker extraordinaire himself, Dennis Undav. I mean, one hell of a season this man is having. If there's anyone who's not, I mean, look, the most shocking thing about this is that he missed a one-on-one late on to make it 2-0. When I saw him run through at the end there, and I was like, well, he's going to score, it's going to be 2-0. Wait, he's missed? He's actually had his shot saved? What the hell? But yeah, look, in all fairness, Leipzig undid it themselves. I mean, I don't know what. It happened just before that Van der Voort played a ball out from the goal, poor clearance, and it got his side in a bit of trouble, but they escaped. But then he did it again, and this time it fell to Dennis Undav in an even better position, and there's only one thing that's going to happen there, and it's a really well taken finish. But Leipzig were flat. I thought they would have mounted more of a challenge. Stuttgart themselves have been very inconsistent over the last few months, so I thought that Leipzig, going into this, were probably the better team on form. And they just didn't really turn up, and Stuttgart been given a massive win to boost their top 4 ambitions, especially with Hoffenheim, not Heidenheim, Hoffenheim dropping points. So it keeps them level on 50 points, and it opens up a nice little cushion now, a little 3-point cushion on Leipzig as well. So it's a big result for Stuttgart.
It probably says a fair bit about Leipzig when they actually fail to score, and I don't think that sort of happens too often this year, where they've been able to at least score.
No, the thing is, I'm looking now, they've scored 48, so they haven't scored a lot of goals. Stuttgart have actually scored more than them.
Right.
But I think they always seem to be able to pick up a goal, at least in most games. Excuse me. Yawning is starting again. But it's another one of those kind of results. It's been the first defeat in a while for Leipzig, but the inconsistencies have been right there. I mean, they know they won the last 2 before this, but then they drew 2 in a row before that. It's kind of hurt them all season, and they want to get back into European football. Obviously, missing it last season was massive for them to not make European football. So they want to get themselves back into some form of European competition, and right now they're in the position to do so. But they need to sort out their consistencies, especially if they're going to push into those Champions League spaces. And Hoffenheim's recent inconsistencies themselves, and Stuttgart's, in all fairness, there's a chance there. There really is.
Oh, definitely, and I think for for Leipzig, as we said, they're knocking on the door of third and fourth spot at the moment. So they're obviously relying on Hoffenheim to.
I mean,
to
they've
drop
got
points on,
Hoffenheim.
yeah.
They've got Hoffenheim next, so these
Oh,
fixtures
right.
this
Oh, wow.
season are always
There you
seeming to
go.
like
So
work
that's
out that way, aren't
that's a
they?
6-pointer right there in itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're always seeming to work
That'll be
out
great
that
to talk
way.
about this time next week for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, probably not because I'll be working.
Oh, right.
A bit later, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. This isn't a work podcast. Let's just move on. This is completely irrelevant to this. Okay, let's just move on. Look, speaking of a team up in that top four who are not finding it difficult cementing their space right now and are looking nailed on for second, is Dortmund, of course, with the most comfortable of wins they're probably ever going to have this season against Augsburg. I mean, watching the highlights, Augsburg had almost nothing in that game. And had it not been for Finn Darman, who actually stepped up to the plate and played all right, even though they lost, it could have been way more than 2, but it was so comfortable for Dortmund, wasn't it, that game?
Yeah, really, really unusual for Dortmund to be sort of uncomfortable in game over the course of the season. They've been pretty dominant, as we know, but I think the fact that this was only a 2-0 win, really, should have been more, especially scoring, in the first quarter of an hour and then not again till the almost the hour mark. Yeah. So, it says plenty about, I guess, was it a case of Augsburg just, defending better than they have previously, or just Dortmund just failing to be ruthless in front of goal?
I mean, it really was just a tale of Dortmund. I mean, mixed with Finn Darman actually pulling off some decent saves for a change. Because everyone knows my thoughts about him, and Dortmund just not really being on target. But I mean, look, it was so comfortable, and I don't feel like Reggiani, who got his first goal, his first senior goal, in fact, like the celebration kind of said it all. If you've seen it, like how happy he was to have scored and stuff. So you like to see that sort of stuff. But yeah, comfortable as could be for Dortmund, and as if anything's going to show that, I mean, it shows this most weeks that they're comfortably going to finish in second. You'd imagine this season, because it just doesn't look like, outside of playing us this season and maybe the occasional couple of draws. Well, they had 2 draws against you guys somehow. But aside from games like that largely they've been untroubled and relatively consistent this season. So I mean, look, it's still an 8-point gap between them and third place. So there really is no trouble there, in my opinion, and they should finish comfortably in second, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. It just seems like they've done enough at the moment, probably not to be sort of moved from that spot. Not that many games left, about sort of 6 or 7 perhaps. So, and we've got an international break coming up in the next week or so as well. So I think that second spot is theirs until somebody else knocks them off their perch.
But I don't think that's going to happen, really.
No.
Now we'll move on. Now we'll talk about your boys in the Friday night fixture, limply going down to Gladbach for the second time this season.
Yeah.
You've been good in recent weeks. I thought you were terrible, in all honesty, in this game. Aside from a couple of half chances, how on earth Joel Fujita has not scored, I'll never know. The conviction on the first time finish was piss poor at best, and he kind of showed it with that frustration when he went up and like kind of semi-punched the post after in frustration. And then aside from that, Jackson Irvine has a bit of a half chance at the end, but I mean, look, I'm only going off the highlights here, but I mean, look, not an awful lot in the game for you. Gladbach, very comfortable, but look, if we're going to talk about anything, Kevin Sturger, what a way to break your duck this season.
Oh, yeah.
What a free kick that was.
Just
It was
quality.
almost perfectly in the top corner. It was about almost 30 yards from goal as well.
The curl on that ball was just, looking at it now, was just superb.
And then Honorar comes off the bench, makes an impact, gets his first of the season, which I'm surprised with. I thought he'd scored a couple before that, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
It's a very comfortable win for Gladbach, a much needed win for them, and a defeat that you didn't need at the same time, which has plunged you right back into that relegation conversation, showing how tight it is right now down there. that you've just been on a good run prior to that, and then this one defeat has just thrown it all backwards.
And that's
for
all
you.
it takes. That's really all it takes. We've seen it with other sides around that sort of mark, and I had sort of some hope of getting something out of this game, but our road travels haven't been all that good this season. Our home forms, especially recently, has been a lot better. But I guess I'll sort of talk about the few positives that I took out of it. Andreas Otonji's back from injury and at a really good time, I think, as well. Came off the bench, and we've talked about that lack of having an out-and-out striker at different times this season, but to have a guy like him back and open up that competition for spots, and not have guys like Vegeta who, like you said before, how he didn't finish early on in that game is unbelievable.
The ball from Ritzka was brilliant, I thought, to pick him out. It's just the finish needed to be a lot better.
Yeah, but I think we're at the time now where I just think we need to pick up points wherever we can now, whether it's on the road or at home. We've got
really do. I mean,
we've got Freiburg next week at home, and
in the same week that Wolfsburg and Bremen are playing each other, by the way.
Oh, right.
So the big games are coming thick and fast down that end of the table as well.
Yeah, and then I think we've got you guys the week after, and then we've got a lot of the sides around us in that run home. So
no, you got Union and then.
Okay. Yeah, that Union game could be anything. So yeah.
Yeah.
But if this showing's anything to go by on the road, then could be another defeat. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, look, really credit to Gladbach. They've had their ups and downs this year, but that Stoger free kick was absolutely
Stoker.
Stoking the fire within the home
Stoger
with that brilliant free kick. Stoger, yeah, brilliant free kick. It was like something out of a PlayStation game, really. So
yeah,
but we've still got some work to do.
Yeah, you definitely do. Speaking of work to do, I'm going to be a bit harsh here, but I think Köln, they probably still do. I know, like Hamburg, they've had a decent home record this season. I mean, look, Fabio Vieira has been one of their best players this season, and what a fucking finish that was from him. Like, back from injury, back in the starting lineup, and he just lifts it over the keeper on the angle. It's a picture-perfect goal as well, that one, just like the free kick in your game. And Hamburg, to their credit, it's a credible point. I know, maybe you should be expecting them to beat Köln at home. The two promoted sides facing off for the second time this season, of course. Seidel Mahler, of all people, popping up with a back post header from a corner was a surprising thing, but he's back on the score sheet. Been a long time coming for that. Maybe Köln need that right about now.
I think they do, yeah.
Not an awful lot happened elsewhere in this game, but, I mean, look, Hamburg, as I said before, Hamburg have actually been very good at home this season, in my opinion. We struggled. We didn't beat them, obviously. We drew to them 2-2 at home. They've had other decent results at home. And, it's a point for Köln, but I don't think it's pulled them clear of that relegation conversation yet, though. I think they're still right in the mix right now.
Yeah, I think they are. And these are the sort of games where, if they want to sort of try and break free from that pack, they've got to do more than just take away a point. But I think Marvellous gone for Köln was a really good sign. He scored a few in the last few weeks. I mean, Fabio Vieira has been fantastic for Hamburg all through the season, I think. So he's really one that I've been impressed with from their point of view. And I think they'd be the more disappointed of the two not to take all the points out of this one, especially at home, where their form's been good, more or less. But I mean, looking at the table, I think Köln, Mainz obviously getting the job done. They've got a two point gap to Köln now and Bremen. So they'll want to start picking up more points, as I guess the others do as well. And it's going to be pretty tight with not too long left in the season, as we said.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, like Hamburg, I'd say more than safe now, but Köln, they need to get just keep themselves ticking over a little bit. Speaking of another 1-1 draw that happened this week, and one which, look, I'll take, as I've said before, I'm not really worried about the title, no more. I don't think, especially with our run in, which we obviously went through in more detail last week, and how it's a relatively easy run in, so I'm not really worried about us dropping so many points that Dortmund are going to catch us, even if they win most of their games, which I expect they probably will as well. The talking points from this game for me is more on the referees. Now, I don't know how much of this you watched and how much you got from the highlights, but there were some absolute shocking decisions in this game. And the referee, the Dortmund fan that he is, definitely tried his best to get us to lose this game. Look, full credit to Leverkusen. They put in a performance which has been missing for recent weeks. I know they still didn't win, but it was a much better performance from their point of view, and if they put in more like that going forward, they'll win a lot more consistently, and they will pull themselves back into the Champions League conversation, because it's far from over for them. I mean, they're a team over recent seasons that if they get their act together, you could see them winning four on the bounce and getting themselves right up into the top four come the end of the season. But the talking point really is just how bad the refereeing was. Now, look, the first one I thought, the Nicholas Jackson red card, I do agree with, it's a red card, but if that's a red card, then how come Nico Schlotterbeck didn't get sent off against us a couple of weeks back? Right? I know we still won the Der Klassiker, so it doesn't really matter ultimately, but the consistency point I'm making still kind of stands, if you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, look, you've seen the red card for Jackson, you remember the Schlotterbeck one, which wasn't given as a red. I don't see too much difference, in all honesty, there, so I don't understand how one's a red, one's a yellow. I mean, look. Yeah. I mean, and look, but as I said, I can understand that's a red, fair enough. We get down to 10 men, they're playing on with 11, whatever. Then we equalise in the second half after Kane comes on. Now, I know we did equalise earlier in the first half, but I'll agree, Jonathan Tah did handle the ball, not deliberately, but there was intention moving the arm, no matter how close it was. I can agree that one shouldn't have stood. Kane's, on the other hand, is an absolute farce how that's been ruled a handball. You've obviously seen it. Explain to me how when a striker's chasing down a goalkeeper, who he's entitled to do, of course, when the ball's in play, it's not a goal kick, and the keeper's clear, Kane's turned his back, as any striker would, to try and block it, because they're not just going to jump and take a ball in the face, obviously. It's just natural human reaction. Yeah. Obviously, it's hit. I can understand it's hit his arm as he's turned his back, and he's like less than a metre away from the keeper, or a metre at best away from the keeper at this point. It's blocked up, falls down, great anticipation from Diaz, runs onto it, squares it, Kane, tapping, open goal, 1-1. I don't see how this goal has been ruled out. I don't understand why. Like, this is just ridiculous, and I'm going to get on to the worst decision in a minute, but that should have been a goal, as far as I'm concerned. He's not... A striker's going to come in, they're going to jump. What are they going to do? Just like wear one on the face to block it? Obviously not. No. It's natural human. You see it happen all the time when strikers charge goalkeepers when they're trying to clear a ball. And 9 times out of 10, they turn their back, but the ball gets cleared past them and nothing happens. Yeah. So why in the instance that the rare occurrence when the keeper does clear into the striker, is it given as a handball? So that means I'm expecting that to happen every time. If a keeper's cleared it and he brushes off the arm of a striker who's charging down, even if the ball goes up and out the field, you've got to give a free kick. Yeah. Because it's clearly a handball if we're going off this rule. Yeah. This is what I don't understand. And the thing I don't get is, yes, the proximity thing, but he's turning his back as a natural reaction. He's not deliberately trying to handle the ball into the path of Luis Diaz. And it's not even gone into the path of Luis Diaz. It's gone into the path of the Leverkusen defender. Luis Diaz is just quicker off the mark and anticipates it better, and that's why he gets to it. It's not like it's fallen at the feet of Luis Diaz. A slower player's not getting to the ball and the defender's clearing it. So yeah, look, I'm not going to rant too much longer, but in my opinion, that's a bullshit call, how that's been given as a handball. Yeah. Nevertheless, Leverkusen actually make it easy for us. Robert Andrich turns the ball over like 5 or so minutes later, or whenever it was. Elise pounces, gets himself another assist. Luis Diaz gets himself his 15th league goal of the season. Brilliant finish, 1-1. All right, even with 10 men, we're looking good here. We can probably win this. No. because Mr. Dortmund fan referee is going to have one more say in this game to stop us from winning and try and make us lose the game. When he sends off Luis Diaz for a second yellow card with one of the worst diving offences, or not offense, like for one of the worst interpretations of a supposed dive I've ever seen a referee call. You've seen it, obviously. You know what I'm talking about. Luis Diaz gone through, sends through, tries to round the keeper. Keeper clearly gets contact on his shin as he goes past him. Like, you can see it clear as day on the replay. Luis Diaz falls over. Referee's gone straight to his pocket. Second yellow, you're off. So now my biggest issue with this is this. Even if the referees had a bigger fucking cock up as that, I understand you can't VAR a second yellow send-off. We know that's in the rules. I'll take that, whatever, we're down to 9 men, who gives, right, whatever. Send him off, even though, and I hope this can get reviewed if even second yellows can, because the fact that he may have to miss a game because of this is even a joke as well. But, so I understand that, send him off, whatever, you can't VAR a second yellow, red card, I understand that. But why can't you VAR the fucking penalty? Because you can still surely go check the replay and see that the keeper's fouled him and be like, well, he has to stay off because it's the second yellow, we can't change that. But that's clearly a penalty. Bayern still get a penalty from this. Why are you allowing that to happen? Like, I not praise, but I have said on record, I think before, and I think you've heard me say it, that I think VAR in the Bundesliga handled a lot better than like the A-League and especially the fucking Premier League, right? But, so I don't understand where the rule is that fine. If you fuck up and it's a red card for a second yellow, we understand you can't review that. But can you still look at the penalty incident? Fine. Had the players off, we can't do anything about that. But it's a penalty, if you look. So you're basically allowing players to get fouled in the box, and if a ref's booked them and sent them off because it's a second booking, then it's never going to get looked at, supposedly, which I find ridiculous. Because what if a player gets injured and it's a clear foul and the referee's missed it? Surely you should still be able to go back and look at the incident. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Look, luckily, Leverkusen did score late on, and I was watching, I was like, well, of course it's going to fucking happen. 11 against 9, it's going to happen eventually, innit? Luckily for us, the referee did briefly skirt back over to the side of fair and even and give that goal offside when it was correctly but marginally offside, and we did manage to hold on for the point. And look, it's not the worst result at the end of the day. A point away at Leverkusen's, fair, especially down to 10 men for more than half of the game, and for 9 men for the last 10 or so minutes. It's very commendable how we've held on against a side like Leverkusen in the end, albeit with a bit of luck in the end after we got no luck. But it just pisses me off. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because we're really wasting time here. We should continue through these games. But yeah, I'll bring you in for your thoughts on this game just briefly because I've kind of done all the talking about it. But yeah, that's the way I saw it. Look, we still got a point. We were down to 9 men for the last 10 minutes. They had a 2-man advantage and still couldn't win the game against us, and we still had a chance or two with 9 men. So that kind of shows our level, right? Yeah. But the refereeing was shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, that Diaz second yellow at the end was diabolical, really. I mean,
you've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah. Just
how that's a dive. That's ridiculous. Like,
well, we thought the refereeing in the A-League was terrible. Shows it can happen overseas as well, but I think it's like you just said, 11 versus 9 is always going to weigh in that team's favour. But the fact that you guys were still able to take a point when most other teams in that situation probably would have gone behind.
The funny thing is, even when we were down to 10 men, we were still dominating possession in for sections of the game. Like, it still didn't look much of a mismatch. Yeah, fine. When we went down to 9 men, we were blocking. We were playing with more of a low block then, and we had more defenders on them. Yeah. But we still actually had a chance. Stanisic had a chance, which he probably could have done a little better with towards the end when we were down to 9 men. So it was still, when we went down to 9, I don't think we were going to win, but I still thought we had enough to hold on for the point, and we did in the end, albeit a bit of luck from that marginal offside, but we deserved that after getting shafted everything up to that in that game. But yeah, look, moving on to the last couple of games, in the last 2 games in the round, 2 very not that amazing games really. Frankfurt will start with their game, a narrow win against Heidenheim, Heidenheim who for all intents and purposes are 100% down into this fight of Bundesliga now.
Yeah.
You'd have to say another was. I mean, look, they had their chances. I know it was a very close offside call that denied Conte's goal. Really well taken finish. I mean, speaking of well taken finish, there's a phenomenal finish from Calimundo, who's been very good for them. I have to say, he's been a very good signing for Frankfurt, Calimundo. But yeah, I mean, look, Heidenheim had a bit of fight in them. They tried, but again, just couldn't find the target really. And another week's gone by, another defeat, and it's just looking over for them now. In all honesty, I just don't see them recovering this anymore whatsoever.
No, I agree, and I said before that I inadvertently was watching some of the highlights from last week. That's basically what the messaging from Schmidt, the manager, was that they're pretty much preparing for the Zweite Bundesliga, the second division next season, and that's unfortunately just how.
I mean, look, a quick talking point on it before we move on to the last game and then the A-League. A quick point on it, because you've obviously had some experience watching the second division up until recently. Of course, St. Pauli frequented it for many seasons,
and hopefully not.
I mean, looking at Heidenheim's squad, how many will go, how many they'll bring in, and who and what. But do you think they could bounce straight back up potentially, or do you see it being a bit of a good old slog for them once they get down there again?
That's a really good question, and I think for them, I think it's going to be tough, and I think I haven't followed the division that closely this year, but Kiel's probably a really good example of that. I think Schalke is still dominating up top, but I think you've got Paderborn.
I was even meaning about Kiel, because I believe Kiel are down near the bottom end of the table.
So that's a really good example. So it doesn't always guarantee that those sides that do go down are going to go straight back up. And I think Heidenheim, as it stands now, I just don't feel that they're going to have that sugar hit to go straight back up at the first time of asking. The reason why is I think there's a really good sort of range of teams that have sort of been in that division for a few years, who've been in the Bundesliga in recent years, that are sort of toiling away in that sort of top half. That top six of the division that could also go up as well. So there's absolutely.
Got to take in the fact that Wolfsburg could go down. That's a massive team to go down. I know Bremen have been down there quite relatively recently, but Wolfsburg have been a Bundesliga team for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah.
They have.
Yeah. That's the other thing as well. I mean, it just depends on who goes down. But if we're talking specifically about Heidenheim, we've talked about the fact that they just survived last year literally by the skin of their teeth. They played in Europe. Was it the season before that? They had that really good season.
It was last season.
Oh, last season. Sorry. So I think this has sort of been on the cards for quite a while. As difficult as it is to say, Heidenheim fans, any of you that are watching, but the writing's been on the wall for a while, and unfortunately, the fact that we've said weeks ago that the messaging out of the manager was exactly that, just sort of sums it up really. Yes, they scrapped in this game and they only lost 1-0, but it's lip service really.
It's like you're watching, you just kind of never felt that they were gonna get into the game, but despite the fact that they were creating a couple of chances here and there, you never felt there was enough conviction in their forward play to make a dent on that scoreline. Maybe if they were playing, Dino Topmüller's Frankfurt a couple of months ago, it might be a different story, but this Frankfurt are defending a lot better and even managed to hold on for 10 men after Robin Koch got sent off late on as well, so yeah.
Yeah, and just I guess the last point I'll make before we move on to the last game is, even if they were to sort of strike gold now, I just think it's far too late. They've got way too much work to do, and other teams getting points, as we've already seen.
It's 7 points now. Yeah. It's 7 points between them and Wolfsburg, and then you got to go further just for the playoff. They're 11 points behind you guys now.
Yeah.
So not 11, 10. They're 10 points behind you guys now. So it's not. It's just becoming too far a gap now for them to breach at this point in the season.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, moving on to that last game, of course, I was very disappointed with Freiburg going down in this game. Union needed this win, and especially win away from home. They did have to leave it late, but it was a very well taken finish from Jong, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very well taken finish from Jong late on in the game, but yeah, Freiburg didn't offer an awful lot that convinced me, to be honest, in this game, and I expected a little bit more from them.
Yeah, I did as well. But obviously early on, like you said, they were really looking to get those points, and they're sort of looking to establish that, that sort of top half of the table finish, and they're sort of just in that spot at the moment. So really important, especially when you've got other teams now in that sort of 28 to 30 point or 31 point, sort of space as well. But I think Freiburg probably lucky that they've still got that 3-point gap ahead of Union now. Take that as you will, but they're 4 points behind Frankfurt at the moment. So it's sort of a little bit of this they could have won, but bit of a hollow sort of result, I suppose, for them. But for Union, they probably looked at it as a case of we need to keep picking up points and sort of really sort of cement that, like I said, that sort of top half, bottom half of the top half. You know what I'm trying to say? Finish. So
yeah.
Ninth sort of 10th spot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like we've got Union next at home. I mean, look, we may potentially not have Luis Diaz, which hopefully shouldn't mean an awful lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, they are a little, they are a little bit of a bastard team to play sometimes. Union, no disrespect.
Well, we've got them the week after. I think
I meant it in the way that they're a bit physical, they're a bit intimidating. They can rough you up a bit. They're a bit, I know I'm talking about Bayern here. We probably should still beat them comfortably, but you never know at the end of the day, right? Especially if the referees are out to get us again. Not sounding salty at all, because I'm accepting that. We are winning the league. I'm not worried because, we should be winning the league. I'm more focused on, as I said before, Champions League, and especially the Pokal, because I'd love a treble, and it's been a long time since we've done stuff in the Pokal, so... in the semi-finals, hopefully we can get through that and then go ahead and win the final. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But that will wrap up the Bundesliga portion, of course. If you've got this far, like always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that damn good stuff. Yeah. We'll move on to the A-League now, who's once again doing the same old. Where teams are just drawing. We'll start with the Friday night game. Brisbane, managing to keep Wanderers where they should be, down towards the bottom end of the table. In a very kind of back and forth game, really, in the end, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And I didn't realise the A-League was actually still going until I realised that we've still got truncated games, and that's probably why I haven't... One of the reasons, I should say, as to why I haven't been that interested in it, although it is something we have to talk about every week for different reasons, but... look, pretty sort of, I guess deserved result for both sides. Raw have struggled to pick up points lately, so they'd probably be the happier of the term Wanderers. Just trying to bring up the table. I think they're sort of still, they're still bottom. Yeah, so
they're bottom.
Yeah. So they'd just be happy to take anything out of a game at the moment, really. So.
Yeah, I mean, they really would. I mean, they probably should have won. I mean, look, it was... Raw had to get... They were in front. Raw doing well to get back. I mean, look, they've been all right at home, to give them some credit, and they're still kind of marginally hanging in there, I'd say. I mean, but they really are. I mean, they're 3 points behind Mariners, so they're still not out of the conversation for the top 6 if they can pick up another couple of wins in quick succession and put some pressure on them. But again, they're still winless in their last 5, as is every team bar the Wanderers in the bottom. Bar Wellington and the Wanderers in that bottom end of the table. So look. Speaking of Wellington, of course, they got themselves that win in the good old. The most violent derby across the world in football, the good old distance derby. I'm so glad that Wellington have Auckland now in the league, so we can stop pretending that this nonsense is actually a proper serious derby, and we can actually give them a proper derby in an Auckland derby to give a New Zealand derby, rather than just base a derby of geographical location. Cause it's like for example, it's like if Bournemouth and Sunderland made some makeshift derby in the Premier League, right? It's a bit stupid, isn't it, really? But no, anyway. Or Hamburg or St. Pauli and Bayern, distance again because north to south. But yeah, anyway, for that nonsense. Anyway, yeah, Wellington won it. Again, quite comfortably. Really, Perth have really started to tail off in this kind of mid-section to entering back end of the season. Really, after just burning so bright and having us all believing that they might be back to the old glory days. No pun intended. Well, I say glory days. There's only one season where they won the league and really looked dominant. But anyway, yeah. I mean, look. What did you make of the distance derby? It was pretty comfortable for Wellington, largely.
I thought the distance was quite long. I mean, that's sort of. But I guess the thing that surprised me is Phoenix actually winning. I mean, I would have thought Perth, who've probably been in better form. I
will say, I did find it quite funny how Nick Pennington scored an own goal against his old team.
Yeah. But both sides have had experience in getting rid of managers or being under new management this season. So, but Phoenix winning at home, I suppose, is good for their fans. The Yellow Fever haven't had a lot to cheer about this year, and Glory, they've got games left to play, and I guess they'll be wanting to get.
Well, they've got you next week.
Yes, they do, and
this week, sorry.
And thank you for bringing that up, because I have not paid any attention to our sort of opposition, because the fixture's been all over the place, as we said. So,
yeah.
But it's not it's away in Perth, the late show, I think it'll probably end up being like most of those games are. So.
No, not really. 7 p.m. Sunday night. It's not that bad.
Oh, okay. We'll see. Not too bad then. But how will we go after being kicked out of the AFC? That's the big question for me.
Well, I hope you don't get a bounce because you're playing us immediately after it. So I hope we can beat you and then you can get the bounce later on. Well, in fact, I don't want you to, because I don't want you to make the finals. But anyway, we're not talking about.
But we're only 4 points away from 6 points, which I wasn't aware of. So if we can get some sort of a bounce, then I did say a few weeks ago we don't deserve to make the finals, and I stand by that until I start seeing some results that say otherwise, really. So anyway, that's my rant. What's the next game?
Yeah, we'll move on. Let's move on to another predictable game. I mean, 1-1 in Adelaide is basically like 25th of December and Christmas at this point in terms of predictability this season, if you got the joke there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mariners Mariners. They've been in good form recently. It got a bit halted here. I mean, as I said, these are such Adelaide probably produce some of the most boring games right now this season, just in terms of predictability and results. Except when they play us, because when they play us, they turn into fucking raw Salona half the fucking time. But against every other team, it's 1-1. Or 2-1, or 0-0, or not really 0-0. They always seem to score, but they always seem to concede. That's 3 draws in a row for Adelaide now as well, so talk about predictability, right?
Yeah.
As they continue to tread water, although there is a bit of a gap, I'm noticing. There's still a 5-point gap between them and Mariners. And we better beat you, because we're only a point above Adelaide, so, we need to open a gap. But, yeah. Enough about, again, I'm not talking about us, obviously, we're talking about Adelaide here.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, look, it's just, I don't know what else you can say about this game, really. It's just another one of those Adelaide games which has just passed us all by, really.
But it's a good result for Mariners, obviously, Adelaide still being in 4th, but they're trying to crack a finals berth, and I guess any sort of points that they can get that result is good for them. Especially when you've got MacArthur, who, if we're talking about the next game, I think we are, which we will be, didn't get a great result. So I guess from the Mariners' point of view, that's good for them, since that's the game we're talking about at the moment.
Yeah.
So they're relying on, obviously, other teams not getting results, and the two that are directly below them, didn't get maximum points. So I guess that's a...
it's been the case in the A-League this season. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it again now. Even if we don't beat you, which I hope we fucking do, we still are going to finish. We're still going to be 3rd at the end of this round, which I feel like I've been I can't remember the last time I felt like we had a poor round, but we still we had I don't know what I'm trying to say, but my point is, like, it feels like we haven't been amazingly consistent ourselves, right? But we've just managed to stay third somehow, and I don't want to jinx it because I want us to win and consistently win games so we can actually open up a gap on us and the other teams below us. But anyway, I keep bringing us into it and we haven't played yet this week. So let's move on to the game this round, which actually had a big talking point, and that was Auckland beating Jets.
Wow. Yeah.
After this fucking long, have we got ourselves a title race? Have we got ourselves a title race this season?
Yeah, it's only
Stevie Corica is the master of that. I know some other Sydney fans don't like Auckland, and I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't mind what they're doing. They're just putting a physical aspect on the league, and I think other teams should follow suit. And I can never hate Stevie Corica because, Sydney club legend, no one can deny that. And I like this Newcastle team a lot as well. I think Milligan's been fantastic this season, and I think it's helped his stock rise as a coach. Obviously, he had that spell at MacArthur before and was all right there, but he's taken it to the next level in Newcastle this season with the youngsters he's had at his disposal. But look, Auckland are back in the picture, maybe. Maybe they are. Sam Cosgrove's been impressive this season. Makes me feel foolish if we flash back to the first review we did after round one, and I said he looked clunky. I think that's 10 goals now in the league from this season, if I'm correct. Let me just double check.
Yeah. Well, just while you're doing that, I was just going to say, the question I guess is now, is that 4-point gap going to be too big for Auckland now? Because they have to rely on the Jets dropping points, and I just don't know how many they're going to drop between now and finals.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's only a 1-point gap. What are you talking about?
Oh.
What you're talking about, it's only 1 point, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, one thing.
My apologies, folks.
Jets have us next, so I mean, if we can beat them as well, that'd be nice. I mean, look, if we can beat you, I keep bringing this back to us all the time. Look, if we can beat you and then beat Jets, we're in the title race, right? So it's not like far-fetched of us being out of it either, right? So back to the other two teams we're talking about, though. But yeah, look, it's a massive win for Auckland, and it's just reignited this title race from nowhere, and Newcastle all of a sudden are going to be nervously peering over their shoulders again as Auckland are right up behind them now.
It is, now that it's a 1-point gap. I think, like you said, we've actually got a title race. It's taken a few months and a bit of...
Well, hold your horses. The season's not over yet.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. 7 or 8 games left.
That's what I'm saying. But I think, there's seven. Now that I've got the right ladder up, it's a 7-point gap between you and the Jets.
Right ladder. You're looking at the ladder from 3 seasons ago.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Exactly, and then wrapping up the A-League, well, not completely, because obviously we're playing tomorrow night, but from what was being played, our favourite team, well, my second favourite team, using sarcasm here, to mean second least favourite, your least favourite, absolutely tonked MacArthur in a very sorry performance from MacArthur, which is becoming a bit too of a formality for them more often than not these days. Matter class again. I mean, look, I say it every week, who'd have thought? You give him a manager who's got more managerial capabilities in a paper bag. Talking about Alan Stajic, as in Arthur Dillaz is not amazing, but Arthur Dillaz isn't amazing. I don't rate him that much as well, but I mean, look, a paper bag would do a better job coaching a team than Alan Stajic, I reckon. But you give Matter a better manager. My point is, who plays him in the position that he's strong in, and what do you know? He can actually score. He can actually score goals, make assists, and be creative for the team. Who'd have thought? Play players in the right position, and you get the best out of them. It's the simplest thing in football.
It is. Well, I mean, as I said before, my sort of attention to this league in recent weeks has been low, and it was even lower yesterday, because I'll tell you why. I had no idea they were even playing until I walked over the footbridge from the MCG yesterday with my head well down after what happened over the road.
Well, how about this? I'm a Sydney fan, you're a City fan. I know Melbourne Victory fans maybe watch this, but let's do due diligence for the clubs that we support, and rather than talk about Victory's impressive 4-1 win against MacArthur, let's do a review of your walk home yesterday instead to wrap up this video. How's that? We'll change it up.
Mate, it was like a I'm not kidding, it was like a funeral procession. It was just very
So let's start.
You know.
I'm being serious about this, right? Let's start from me. So you finish the game.
Yeah.
What happened? How does your journey home go? So you get out of the G.
This is how it went. I literally said to the people I was sitting with, who I've sort of sat with periodically at Marvel over the years, up on level 3, on the city side wing, and I said to them, I'm going to go. I'll say something I'll regret if I stay. I was furious, right?
Well, you left before full time.
Yeah, which I don't really do, but I'd had enough.
You only lost by 12 points, didn't you say?
It was 13 or whatever it was.
Oh,
yeah. But I had enough. It was just, I think I yelled out at one stage when Melbourne had missed a couple of shots and the game was still on the bat. I said, they're literally telling you, and I was screaming this. I said, they're telling you they don't want it, basically, right? And
Maxie stood up behind you in the box and banged on the glass, going, "Yeah, fucking right, tell them." No, anyway, continue.
And I said at 3/4 time, we need the first goal. We're only down by 4 points. And what happens? Their ruckman, goes forward and kicks the first goal from the pocket, and that was the beginning of the end. So I walked down, and I'm pretty somber. I'm just, that sort of haze of rage that I referred to before I walked in a much better mood.
Yeah.
I got my cinnamon donuts. And I actually got the proper ones, by the way.
Oh.
This week. The truck was back, so that instantly lifted my spirits. $8.
You were in a somber mood, and then you walked out and you saw that little truck. Where is it? Is it like in the before?
It's a little van. It was before the game, and I'd made.
Where's it usually parked? Is it just out the front on the main road?
On the concourse, and we walked past there before. I think it was when Max was over 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was there. So I'm like, okay, because they weren't there last week for whatever reason, but I always make a habit when I go, even if it's MCC, and I didn't set MCC yesterday either, so I'm thinking maybe that might have been why we lost, but I don't think so. Anyway, walking down the ramp, and I'm like, oh fuck, I just want to get out of here, and as it happened, the siren went probably not long after I got out of the Warren stand, and I'm sort of just
beat the traffic.
Sort of, yeah. I'm sort of trudging towards the opposite side of the ground and got onto the footbridge, and I walked down to get the tram, and I see Victory fans. I'm like, oh, they're playing today, are they?
Oh.
Yeah. So then I sort of wait for the tram, and I get on and get down Swan Street, and I'm like, I won't get the 246 bus. I'll just get that glorious 78 straight line tram.
Wait, so you went into the city first?
No, I went into Richmond and then down.
Oh, you went to Richmond,
Church Chapel. I'm like, oh yeah.
So you basically walked to Richmond Station?
No, I got the tram to Richmond Station, then the 78. But I thought, I'll get a.
You could have walked. It's not that far from the G to Richmond Station.
This is my point. I could have, but I didn't because it was obviously I had other things on my mind, like I've been talking my club up for weeks now. There's been a documentary on said club, and what have we got to show for it? Like, sweet fuck all. And I'm so glad we can swear on this podcast, I might add, because it was just, and
anyway, continue your journey. So you get to Richmond Station,
and I'm waiting for the tram, and that was a long 11 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Tram for
Wait, so you weren't initially going to get the gloriously interesting 78 tram route that goes in a straight line?
I was going to get the Punt Road bus, the 246, but it was like 17 minutes.
Oh, you were basically going to go that way through South Yarra and then down Chapel Street,
Yeah, but I just straight down Punt Road, but I couldn't be bothered, and I like to mix it up a bit. So I just thought, oh, wait, but
it takes the same fucking road,
Yeah.
Or mostly.
The road less travelled as they
like to mix it up a bit by going in a different form of transport down the same route.
Almost the same way, yeah. So
and almost the same route layout as well, just a big fucking straight line. But continue.
So go down Chapel Street, and I'm like, I'll get something for dinner and that. Yeah, I got to decide to get a pizza and got that, and was sort of waiting.
But fair way down. You went all the way to Windsor before you got off the tram. You said,
and then I ended up walking back from there. So
so you went to Windsor. I would have been further south actually. So you would have walked back up.
So, but it's a good little walk from there. But Got my pizza, and this is how bad a mood I was in.
Hang on, what pizza? The detail's important here.
It was like a seafood, like a gourmet sort of, yeah. And I had leftovers for lunch. When I got back from the city this afternoon, so I got that. But yeah, this place I actually found after my 40th birthday at the pub about 2 doors down.
Wait, was it a wood-fired pizza?
No, just a traditional
Oh,
sort
it's
of,
regular, no.
but really, really good. This place actually does Indian-style pizzas as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, try one of those one time. You should.
Yeah, I will actually. They look pretty good.
Next time you're getting pissed off after you. Oh wait, you're done at the G now, actually, aren't you?
No, we got Richmond there, but not for quite a while. So.
Oh, okay, but I mean, I tell you what, if you lose that game, you'll be pissed right off. You probably will go down there and get yourself another pizza.
I might get myself a half a dozen donuts, I think, at that stage. But
if you lose to...
so I get the pizza, and this is the mood I was in. I had to bite my tongue a little bit because this bloke's sitting out the front. And he's like, "Oh, mate, can I have a slice of pizza?" And I felt like telling him where to go. I didn't. I just walked straight past him because that's not my nature. I left all my foul language, shall we say, at the ground. And I'd more than sort of given my quota of that for the day. I was furious. It was just really after sitting through the same thing the week before, pretty much, and obviously all the talk I'd done on the club and whatnot. It was just just not great. I'm like, oh fuck, I've got to deal with this again for another week, and that's why I laughed this morning when I listened to this Saints or Sinners podcast, because they had like an Instagram post saying, oh, you know, here's the vent area, whatever they called it, far away, and I said to them, you know, I'm that depressed, I'm going to smash a large pizza. That's what this club means to me, or the lengths I go to for this club, or whatever I said. And one of them messaged me back this morning saying, oh yeah, we were cracking up, I could hear it. When I listened, I said, we were cracking up laughing. I said, it's so true. It's like, you know, I don't really drink anymore, and it's my vice in terms of coping.
You don't need to drink. If you're a Saints fan, that gives you the same effects of being drunk, doesn't it? What are the common after effects of a night out in heavy drinking? You're disorderly. You're sometimes. I mean, depends what type of drunk you are, but you're angry. You're swearing. You're pissed off. You're all over the place. You're discombobulated. Isn't that the same as watching Saints most weeks?
It is, and I actually said something similar to. There was this older couple waiting at the tram stop on Church Street, Swan Street.
I just want to say, I love how, like, in the time that we've been friends, I've never had really much of an interest in the AFL or anything like that. Don't follow it really at all. But from what you've told me and the amount of things you've told me and my relatively basic-ish understanding of it, still, like, I'm still able to rip into you about being a Saints fan, even though I don't know anything. Like, none of it's technical. It's just the kind of generic sort of like, oh, you're a bit of a banter club sort of stuff. Continue.
Pretty much, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because, you know, kudos to you. It hasn't taken you that long to sort of work that out when, you know, there's people that have been following this club for a long time, and they're already starting to see through what we've done as well in terms of the last 6 months or so, and all the pumping up of the tyres and whatnot.
You didn't help yourself by talking it up all the time.
No. But, you know, someone actually said yesterday we're the Tottenham Hotspur of the AFL, and I'm starting to believe that now. So yeah, I was talking to this couple, and I said to them, I don't really drink anymore, but it's games like that I wish I did. But you've just hit the nail on the head in saying it's pretty much like you're going through that sort of stage of drunkenness, and then the come down as a result of watching that. It's just so difficult to watch, and it's probably why my eye's been off the A-League for a little while, because I've been so consumed and wrapped up in the start of the footy season. So I don't know. It's just and I've copped it on social media myself a little bit because of the the puffing out of the chest and whatnot. So I've been a little bit sort of less on certain social channels than I normally would be.
Is it like something that's kind of ingrained into the minds of Saints fans to be as arrogant as the club are over literally fuck all half the time?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like, you know, we talk a big game at times, but we don't really have much to deliver.
I think I've said this before, but supporting a rival club of yours in the AFL, I said the A-League, the AFL must be a walk in the park for like Collingwood, Carlton fans, and I don't know who else you consider rivals of yours, but those sort of fans, because it's so easy for them to get you with stuff, because you basically go, here's the door to Saints banter. Welcome, come on through, rival fans.
It is, but you know, I said to someone over the weekend, it could be worse. Essendon haven't won a final since 2004, and we've been in multiple finals and a few grand finals. Yes, we didn't get the end result.
Don't want to hit the nail on the head here, but you haven't won one since 1966. But yeah, put the brakes on again. You're doing it again, I'm afraid, Ben.
That was my point exactly. But you know, as bad as
you're kind of doing it again.
Yeah, as bad as things are for us right now.
Yes, I understand you're saying they haven't won finals since 2004, but I don't think you're in a position to be saying that.
And yet I just did.
Like, as a football fan who follows England quite passionately in World Cups and, well, in general, I don't go giving it to, like, France. Not France is a bad example. I don't go giving it to, like, Brazil fans saying, oh, you haven't won a World Cup since 2002. Ha ha ha, you suck. Because I'm well aware that we haven't done it since 1966 ourselves. So yeah.
But was I on the Collingwood social pages as soon as they lost on Saturday night? You bet I was.
Of course you were.
As I said to them, and this is a reference to some of their supporter base. I've got some mates I've met through different jobs and stuff who are great supporters and not arrogant at all. The best karma is served mashed up. There's a sort of dental sort of link to some Collingwood supporters and that whole bogan feral aspect. But I got onto that straight away because they gave it to us last week, and some of them just take it a bit too far. There's banter and then there's personal attacks, and I have no, I'll say this right now. Somebody said to me, and you'll go, oh, what? How can that be? Somebody said to me, it looks like you've got a brain tumour. Like, how the fuck can you actually say
I'm sorry I'm laughing, but it is just... I'm not laughing as if you're a dick. It just sounds so... It sounds so ridiculous that someone would actually say that. It becomes funny, if you know what I mean. That someone is that ridiculous.
Yeah. There's some real... There's some real stupidity. It's just, there needs to be... It's like a forklift licence. There needs to be some sort of licence for some people to...
for online commenting?
Yeah, online banter, exactly, online conduct. But, so I guess to put a full stop on it, because, it's probably good in a way that we wrap it up pretty soon, because if I start ranting on what happened yesterday...
I mean, it's been an amazing review of that Melbourne Victory MacArthur game.
I'm going to go spare... Yeah, well, you know what, like I said, if I hadn't have seen their supporters coming through as
That's your review on it. That's your review on it.
Game was on. Yeah.
So you saw the North Terrace basically walking up to Amy Park. That's your review on the game.
So their fans coming in, but not a great day. Not a great day for Saints fans. We've got a game at the Showgrounds on Saturday. And I'm actually glad we're not doing a live stream of that, because I've been like a cat on a hot tin roof. I think it's just,
I'm not confident.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to have the experience from a supporter point of view that I had yesterday, because it brought back all those memories of why it's been good to have the last 6 months off from that.
It's so funny because like the last 6 months or so, you're like, I can't wait for the AFL to start. I can't wait. I'm so excited. 2 weeks into the season, you're like, I'll fucking end the season again already, please.
Yeah.
2 games in and you're dying.
It says plenty when I'm more focused on, Phoenix, who are 1 game away from a grand final berth, as I said. And Storm, who are 2 from 2, thankfully, than I am about a team I've been pumped up for the last 6
Have you watched any
months.
Storm? Have you watched Storm yet this season? You've been watching them?
Yeah, not live. I'm only going to 1 game or so this year.
No, but I mean, like, you've been watching them on TV.
And they've been really good. They haven't lost a round 1 game for like the last 20-something years. I think I mentioned to you. So. And
then you said you won your round 2 game as well. So.
Yeah, beat St George on the weekend. So, small mercies in terms of a broader picture. And if Power can start getting some more wins, then I'll be more focused on them than the good old Saints. So
also, before two more things before we wrap up.
uh-huh.
One, are you going to that Carlton game? Are you forking out $40 or whatever it is for that, or are you changing your mind on that one?
I think, you know what? I said this to somebody yesterday. I think I might actually go.
Oh, okay.
I'm sort of, but then there's that obvious thing of, like yesterday, what happens if we lose? But mind you, if we don't win, it's going to be the same as yesterday, but 100 times worse, I think.
Because you spent $45 on it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Carlton as well, because I know how much you hate them.
Yeah, most definitely. So, there's not really much more to say about that. I'm staying off socials and staying off the footy media shows for the week.
The other thing I was going to ask
week.
is, you said you touched on Phoenix. Obviously, are you going to the final if you make it, if it's even in Melbourne?
Oh yeah, it'll be best of best of five games. So, I'll so there'll be at least one, if not two games at home to go to. What I will say though is the atmosphere on Saturday was epic. They came back from, I think it was 15 points down or something, and the atmosphere was.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah, I went on Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you need to win. You got one more game, but you need to win it, basically, right?
That's Adelaide in Adelaide tomorrow night. So if we win, we're through. So it's do or die.
So you won. You won when you were there on Saturday, then, okay?
Yeah. And the atmosphere was just superb. They've had a really good season this year. So they'll play Sydney in the grand final if they make it.
Yeah.
So who've been a really good side. They're really well coached. So we'll hopefully by the time we record next week, whenever that is, we'll have some good news.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise it's season over.
Yeah. Well, you might have a grand final. I mean, a couple of games in the grand final? You said if you make it, you said best of 5, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what? Hang on. How's that work? 2 games at home, 2 games away, 1 game in a neutral venue.
No. So City being the dominant team or the higher ranked team, they'll get 3 home games if it goes to the full 5.
Oh, okay. So you'll at least have 1 game you can go to in the final if you make
correct.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that happens for Phoenix, because it's not happening for Saints so far. It's definitely not happening for City, and hopefully that continues, because we're playing you tomorrow night. It's sort of happening for West Brom again, maybe. It's sort of not happening again for St. Pauli again. And in other news, Segicic, I found out just before we wrapped this up, Segicic has ditched Australia to try and play for Croatia, so good on you, Sega. Good on you, mate. Class. Love that. Being serious, I'm genuinely not being sarcastic. I love that decision for him. He's better than Australia. Come back to Sydney, when you're about 30 or 29 or something, and conquered it all and be like world class. I mean, to be fair, if you become world class, go to United and tear it up for us in the Premier League. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Look, next Luka Modric, not in terms of position, but in terms of stature, incoming maybe. But yeah, anyway, look, we've gone on for far too long in this one. That was a fantastic review of the Melbourne Victory MacArthur game for those of you who stayed this far to tune in for that.
I thought so too.
It was really, really good. So we're not gonna recap it. If you missed it, just trust our word that we went through it in glorious detail, explained all the goals, everything that happened. So go back and watch
it was
our
fantastic.
review of it.
He thrives under a fantastic coach, and it ended with walk of shame and a funeral procession with a large pizza in hand. So I think that's a pretty good apt description of that game, wouldn't you say, Chester?
Yeah, very apt. Yeah. But yeah, look. Anyway, we'll wrap it up now, because we've gone back to our old habits of soaring past the 1 hour mark, and our Clip Champ, can't handle that type of bandwidth, so we're fucked. But anyway, hopefully we can get this out relatively soon. Anyway, look, for those of you who did stay on for this good old ranting session, and all that good stuff, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that standard stuff. Anyway, we'll leave it here. We'll be back on Thursday with a tea break, which we haven't even planned, but we'll come up with something, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's it from us today, people. Peace out, take care, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Take care, guys.